Laba, draugiau, mano vardas, Lawrence. Well, as you can tell, I am walking through the pedestrianized streets of Siauliai because I'm walking on my way to the train station or Galios, because today is the day I'll be on my way to go to Klaipeda. Yes, Klaipeda is the next place I'll be visiting in Lithuania, and so the adventures will continue. In case you haven't noticed, you might be asking, but Lawrence, why aren't you wearing your Lithuanian cap and sunglasses? Well, relax, because I got everything in my bag. I put everything inside my bag, and so, yeah. I'm just, I know I should have put on my magic cap of Lietuva or even my sunglasses for the sun, but of course, I'm starting to get used to Siauliai, looking out for me. Yeah, it was thanks to Siauliai. She's been looking out for us. Gavavat, she's been such a kind-hearted goddess that she is, and so, yeah, Siauliai is here to make sure that I will keep my safe travels, and so off to Klaipeda I go, because in Klaipeda there is so much to see. So, see you there. Klaipeda. Here we are in Klaipeda. We've made it. Well, here I am, wearing the magic cap of Lithuania as well as the pair of sunglasses. I'm walking on my way to a Mano hotel. It's just about a 45-minute walk or so. It's pretty walkable and convenient, and so, yeah, feeling thrilled and very happy to be here. Yeah, that's the spirit. Of course, Siauliai's good. But of course, it's a very quiet town. There is a lot going on as well. But Klaipeda, there is a lot going on there. And so that's why I'm staying 3 nights in Klaipeda. And so on my way to the hotel in Klaipeda. We're about to go across the bridge over the river, where along the river you see a lot of boats. And even ships, for that matter. As I go across the bridge ahead, I will go straight to the hotel called Mano. Mano is named after a place named by the Teutonic Knights. Until 1923, it was then called Klaipeda, 100 years today. The famous ship of Klaipeda, the sailing ship made of wood with 3 masts. What a beauty it is. And on the other side, you also see a patrol boat called, I will find out by the time I get there. And you also see a lot of little boats and human-powered boats as well. And just straight ahead, I'll go to the hotel. Here we go, we just reached the corner here, where you see the park with the trees. Just further ahead, there's Mano Hotel. That's the hotel I'm staying right now. Wow, we're nearly there. By the time I check in, I will start exploring, and I can't wait to put weight out of my back, especially the weight of that camping equipment I got on my back. So yes, here we go, we're nearly there. This is so nice! I like this hotel. Well, this is just the first night of 3 that I'll be staying in Klaipeda, so by the time I go around Klaipeda, there is so much to see and so much to learn about this town, because Klaipeda, along with the rest of many other towns and cities across Lithuania, has a very rich history and a lot of colourful culture to it as well. And there's also a lot of legends to be told, and also paganism whenever it comes to the role of the gods and the goddesses in Lithuania. And so, let's go and do some exploring by the time I've unpacked everything, and then let's go. Here I am in Klaipeda, on with the video. Klaipeda has a very long history. It goes back to the days of the Baltic tribes. And certain Baltic tribe, they were called the Samogitians. The Samogitians, as we all know, they were a very tough bunch. And they're the ones who fought against the Livonian Brothers of the Sword in 1236. But of course, Klaipeda came all the way back to the Iron Age, or even before. It was the land of the hasty tribes, where the amber trade happened. But then from the Iron Age up until the 13th century, it always belonged to the Samogitians, one of the Baltic tribes, which is in modern-day Lithuania. But then in the 1250s, Klaipeda became Memel, and this is where Memel was first mentioned. It was the time when Mindaugas, by the time he was crowned king of Lithuania, he has to make some very unfair treaties in exchange for the independence of Lithuania. Samogitia, on the other hand, has to be transferred to the Teutonic Order, and so this is how Klaipeda, to begin with, was called Memel. And it lasted from 1253 up until 1918, that Memel has always been German territory, although there is a population of Lithuanians within Memel. But of course, throughout the Lithuanian Crusaders, the Lithuanians and the Samogitians have been fighting really hard to regain Klaipeda from the Teutonic Order. But of course, numerous sieges and battles and all of that. But it wasn't until 1918 that Memel has been parted by the Treaty of Versailles, and then in 1923, due to the Klaipeda revolt in 1923, which is 100 years this year, Klaipeda has come back to Lithuania, and this is how Klaipeda came to be. Okay, the first site I'm visiting in Klaipeda is the statue of a giantess or deity called Neringa. You see this statue over there? That's Neringa. She's the giantess with a very kind heart, very loving and very empathetic, who has made a promise to protect the people of Klaipeda from the sea monster, because the sea monster has been attacking and harassing fishermen who have been fishing in the seas, trying to catch some fish. And of course the families who lost their husbands and their loved ones who went out fishing, they were crying, and also they were sad and mourning for their lost ones. And so Neringa came up with a plan that, according to legend, by the time she got very big, she started to lay sand and soil, a strip of land which separated from the Baltic Sea to the Curonian Basin, or let's say the Curonian Spit. And so this is in order to protect the fishermen so that they can fish in peace away from the sea monster. And so this is where Neringa came to be. And of course, here it is, the goddess Neringa holding two fishing ships with the sails on the top. And this is how Neringa, she is honored to this day. Did you see that house, the one which says Gerime? This is a very typical German-built house, a half-timbered house built in the Middle Ages, since the legacy of the Teutonic Order. By the time the Teutonic Order had laid control what was then Memel, now Klaipeda. And so, yeah, you can just as well tell that with the architecture, it's all very German, which is the reason why it's called Little Germany within Lithuania. And you see another half-timbered house, yep, and wood, yep, restaurantes. Now it's a Chinese restaurant. There's another German-built house, 18th century, and another like this, the one with the Lithuanian flag. Now, what was the reaction of the Samogitian tribes by the time Samogitia has been transferred over to the Teutonic Order in 1253? Well, they were pissed off. The Samogitians, they were pissed with the treaty that the Teutonic Order has taken Klaipeda from them, and that's the reason why the Germans, they always call it Memel. And so there were many battles and sieges between the Samogitian warriors and the Teutonic Order. Battle after battle, siege after siege, and the most famous siege in Klaipeda history was the 1257 siege of Memel, when the Samogitians, they've slaughtered the 120 armored knights of the Teutonic Order, but they failed to breach the castle. And a second time, when Lithuania became a pagan country once again after the death of Mindaugas in 1263, that's in the 14th century, under the leadership of Vytenis and also under Gediminas, that Gediminas made another go for the Lithuanians to take back Klaipeda from the Germans. But of course, the Teutonic Order, they've always held on to Memel, well, Klaipeda, as it's appropriately pronounced, or always been named. And so, yeah, it has always been German for many centuries until 1918. And then in 1923, Klaipeda became Lithuanian once again and always will be Lithuanian. And we go through the streets where there is a cobblestone and another German-built buildings, but this one is Lithuanian-built since the 1920s, but now it's in ruined and disarray. As you could see, that the window has been sealed with brick, and another abandoned building over there. And of course, here it is. This is the very nicer part of Klaipeda. You know, more German-built houses or mansions and buildings. Yep, as you could tell, that these buildings over there are very colorful. You see a yellow one and a pink one, white ones with half timber. There's another German-built house, which is pretty much of an 18th century German house built under the rule of Frederick the Great of Prussia, because Memel, since it has been transferred to the Teutonic Order, it's been part of the Kingdom of Prussia under the Prussian rulers. And of course, this really reminds me of all the Bavarian towns and villages, or even most other historical German towns and villages. But this one, it's more 20th century, so that's Lithuanian built. But the other building over there, the light yellow building with a light blue and the green below, that's a German-built house as well, since it came under German occupation until it came back to Lithuania in 1923.